The moment the judge sentenced me to 3 years in prison, I looked back at my husband, hoping to see love. But instead, he held my best friend's hand beneath the courtroom bench, their fingers laced together like a secret they could not wait to whisper. I was crying for a man who was moaning between another woman's thighs, while I was being escorted in cuffs for a crime he committed. To all my amazing subscribers, thank you so much for fueling this journey with your constant support. Your presence here means everything. And to all my new and returning viewers who are yet to subscribe, I truly cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel that powers this channel. Please remember to like, engage, and share your thoughts in the comments. I am reading every one of them. Let us dive in. My name is Jillian Carter. I was 32 when my life split into 2 timelines, before prison and after betrayal. I was a wife. A partner. A woman who believed in loyalty so deeply that I thought love could be proved in sacrifice. And so, when Marcus, my husband of 6 years, cried in our bedroom and told me he made a mistake, a financial crime that could put him in jail, I listened. When he begged me to take the fall, just for a year or 2, because I had no priors and the court might go easy on me, I listened. When he whispered that our family's future depended on me, I agreed. I did not think twice. I did not know betrayal had a flavor, but when it hit my tongue, it tasted like stale iron and thick syrup, sweet at first, then toxic. Marcus and I met at a real estate conference in Miami. I was just starting out in property management. He was already a name in the game. Tall, with sharp brown eyes and a jaw that looked like it was made for courtroom wins. When he smiled, people trusted him. I trusted him too. Our first date was on a rooftop, under the stars, eating greasy tacos in overpriced clothes. He told me I made him feel like he could breathe. That was the moment I fell. And I kept falling, even through the wedding, through the joint bank accounts, through the kisses in his office when his secretary was on break. Even when I started noticing things that felt off. The calls he never took in front of me. The locked drawer in his home office. The way he said Shelley's name sometimes, like it carried more breath than mine. Shelley and I had known each other since 3rd grade. We had the kind of friendship that survived boyfriends, distance, and even one rough fallout in college. She was the maid of honor at my wedding. She gave a toast that night that made me cry. I remember her words clearly: if I ever find a man who looks at me the way Marcus looks at Jillian, I will marry him in my sleep. Well, she did not wait for me to wake up. When the FBI showed up at our house in Baltimore with questions about Marcus's company finances, I froze. Marcus was pale. His hands trembled. That night, he told me everything, about the false investments, the offshore account in my name, and the forged signatures. Except he did not call them that. He called them mistakes. He begged me not to let our life go up in flames. He said if he went to jail, everything would crash, our assets, our reputation, our future children. He cried. And I wiped his tears like a fool in love. I took the deal. Pleaded guilty. Said the forged documents were mine. Said I acted alone. The courtroom was cold. I wore a black dress. I wanted to look strong. But my knees buckled the moment I heard the words 3 years. Still, I looked back at him. And I saw Shelley. Her eyes were not red. Her mouth was not trembling. She was holding Marcus's hand. The prison in upstate New York was brutal, not because of the cells, or the noise, or the guards. It was brutal because I kept hoping. I kept telling myself Marcus would fix this. That when I got out, there would be flowers, apologies, and plane tickets to anywhere I wanted to go. He wrote to me less and less as the months passed. Shelley stopped visiting entirely after the 2nd month. I started hearing rumors. From women inside whose cousins or aunts or friends had seen something: Marcus at a restaurant with Shelley, Shelley wearing a ring. One woman said she saw their wedding photos on Facebook. I wanted to believe it was a lie. My brain rejected it so hard I ended up vomiting the night I overheard a guard say, ain't that the lady whose husband married her best friend while she was in here? I did not cry. Not that night. I waited. I waited until Christmas morning, when all the inmates got 15-minute calls. I called Marcus. His voice was quiet. He said, "Jill, please do not make this harder." That was all I needed. I hung up and screamed until the guards pulled me away. It was not just betrayal. It was murder. He killed everything I believed in. And Shelley? She stabbed me from the inside, like a snake warming in my belly. By the time my release date came, I had changed. My love had bled out. All that was left was a heart hardened by prison bars and promises that died too easily. I left that place wearing the same shoes I entered in. But I was not the same woman. I was no longer the wife who took a fall for her husband. I was the storm he foolishly believed would never return. And I was ready to remind them both that no one walks free after burning me. The day I left prison, the sun was sharp and blinding, like it was trying too hard to welcome me into a world that no longer felt mine. My hands shook as I stepped onto the cracked pavement outside the gate, holding a single duffel bag, one filled with $5 toiletries, folded prison letters, and a court-sealed file that still had my ex-husband's name typed over mine. There was no one waiting for me. No Marcus. No Shelley. No car, no flowers, no apology, no second chance. Only silence. And a truth I had swallowed so many times it had started to grow teeth inside me. I took a bus back to Baltimore. The ride was long and rough, full of loud children and quiet stares. I wore a hoodie that covered most of my face and a pair of sunglasses with one cracked lens. Nobody asked questions. I was grateful. When I arrived at the house, I paused in front of the familiar white porch. The same porch where Marcus had once kissed me under the rain. The same porch where I had waved goodbye the morning I left to face prison time for him. Now it was overgrown with weeds. There were new curtains in the windows. Pink, not mine. And a gold wind chime I did not recognize. My hands trembled when I turned the key in the door. It still worked. Maybe that was his last mercy. Inside, it smelled different. Not lived in, but touched, like a memory someone had tried to erase and repaint. The furniture was mostly gone. The rug was different. A box of wine glasses sat half open in the corner. And on the kitchen counter was a folded note, written in Shelley's handwriting. "Please do not contact us. The house will be sold next month. Take what you need." I laughed. Out loud. That dry, broken laugh that sounds more like grief than humor. "Us," she had said. As if she and Marcus were now the couple, and I was the intruder. I opened the closet in their old bedroom and found a pair of men's dress shoes and a single framed picture behind a stack of boxes. It was a wedding photo. I was not in it. But I recognized the beach where it was taken. I had once told Marcus it was my dream location if we ever renewed our vows. He had remembered. He had taken her there. That night, I did not sleep. I sat on the floor, surrounded by old receipts, legal documents, and photos I had not had the heart to burn. My stomach clenched every time I remembered Shelley's voice, soft, sweet, always a little higher pitched when she lied. She had come to visit me in prison. Twice. Smiled. Held my hands. Said Marcus was holding up. The bitch was probably already married to him then. I got my answer 3 days later at Macy's, of all places. I was buying new underwear and a pair of decent shoes when I ran into Gwen, a mutual friend. Gwen screamed when she saw me, pulled me into a tight hug, and said, "Oh my God, Jillian. You are back. I cannot believe you missed their wedding, it was insane." I stared at her, blinking. She kept talking. It was right after the second quarter of last year. That little island in Florida. They did a boat reception. Shelley looked stunning, not that you did not, when you guys got married. But this one was, next level. I walked out of that store without buying a single thing. I went home and vomited until my throat burned. Then I started piecing everything together. The texts I had missed. The social media pages I was blocked from. The accounts I once shared with Marcus that had all been renamed or deleted. I used a burner phone to create a new Facebook account. It took seconds to find what I was looking for. A tagged photo. A mutual friend. A wedding album. Mr. and Mrs. Marcus Blake, EST 2024. The photos showed everything. Shelley in white lace, standing barefoot on sand. Marcus grinning like he had never watched his first wife get cuffed in front of a federal judge. Guests clapping. Balloons. Rings. Laughter. My eyes caught something else, my necklace. A silver chain with a moonstone pendant Marcus had given me on our honeymoon. Shelley was wearing it in her wedding photo. I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug into my palm. I wanted blood. But rage without proof is noise. I needed something more. Something solid. I went to visit Angela, another mutual friend, under the pretense of reconnecting. Angela had always been the one who gossiped too much after 2 glasses of red wine. It did not take long. We sat on her patio, sipping from mismatched mugs. She looked guilty when I mentioned Marcus. I thought you knew, she said. He told everyone you took the plea because you were afraid of prison. That you were guilty. My throat went dry. Then she leaned in closer and whispered, but Shelley. Shelley told me it was planned. That he convinced you because it would be easier for you to get a lighter sentence. That you would be the fall girl. Fall girl. Like a pawn. Like a stepping stone for their love story. Angela kept talking. She said he promised to divorce you while you were away and that you would be fine. That it was all handled. I asked her if she knew about the wedding. She nodded slowly. He invited me, she said. I did not go. It felt wrong. I thanked her and left. It was a short walk back home, but my mind was loud. Every step I took felt like dragging chains of memory behind me. When I got back, I decided to confront the truth one last time. I went to Shelley's house. The same 2-story gray house her parents left her before they passed. The porch light was on. The mailbox had a sticker that read, "The Blakes." I did not knock. I did not rage. I simply walked to the side of the house, through the gate, and into the backyard. I knew Shelley always left her back door unlocked. She was careless that way. She had once laughed at me for locking every door in my own house. Inside, I found the wedding album in her bedroom drawer. It was thicker than the Facebook one. Real photos. Printed with care. Handwritten captions. Our beginning. Our real beginning. I sat on the edge of her bed. Looked at every photo. Every smile. Every frame that could have been mine. Then I did what she would have never expected. I left the album open on the kitchen table with a note. I saw everything. This is not over. Then I walked out, not like a ghost, not like a broken woman. But like a firestorm waiting to strike. The note I left on their kitchen table must have rattled her because Shelley never called. She did not text. She did not even send one of her passive-aggressive emails she used to love typing back in college. She did something worse. She disappeared. The next morning, her car was gone. Marcus's phone line was suddenly unreachable. And when I passed by the house 2 days later, a "For Sale by Owner" sign sat proudly in the front yard. They were running. That was good. Because it meant they were afraid. But fear alone was not enough for me. I did not want Shelley to feel guilty. I wanted her to feel ruined. I wanted Marcus to sit in the same prison chair I had sat in. I wanted him to count cracks on the wall and lose sleep over what was coming. This was not about jealousy. It was about justice. I had given them my freedom. Now, I would take their piece. I started with Marcus's business. He ran a luxury property development firm called Blake & Partners, the same company he used to funnel fake investments, the reason the FBI came knocking in the first place. The only reason I had not named him during my trial was love. The sick kind of love that poisons you from the inside. But now? Now I had no love left. Just receipts. Every paper trail I had stored, every bank transfer I had not thrown away, every login I still remembered, I used it all. I mailed anonymous copies of forged contracts to the IRS. I sent screenshots to the Baltimore Department of Licensing and Regulation. I emailed investors who had pulled out years ago with subject lines like, "You were right to run." The silence that followed was sweet. Like watching a storm gather while holding the only umbrella. Then came the headlines. Luxury developer accused of tax fraud. Marcus Blake under federal review for property scams. His partners began pulling out. His clients started suing. I watched the collapse like someone who had built the tower brick by brick and was now enjoying the demolition. Shelley, meanwhile, was nowhere to be found publicly. But I had a contact, an old paralegal friend named Denise, who owed me a favor. She called one afternoon and said, "Your girl is trying to change her last name back." Quietly. That told me everything. Shelley was jumping off the ship. And I was not done yet. There was one thing I had not touched. One truth I had buried even deeper than the rest. Shelley was pregnant. It hit me when I looked again at that wedding album and noticed her hand resting over her stomach in every other photo. Her belly, rounded in ways I had missed the first time. At first, I felt sick. Then, I felt powerful. Because that child, his child, would grow up knowing exactly what kind of man fathered him. Still, I had one more move. One I had saved like a bullet behind my tongue. When I was arrested, Marcus begged me to hide a certain document. It was a sealed asset agreement, proof that his company had laundered over $2 million through offshore accounts. The file was too risky to store digitally. He asked me to keep it in a safety deposit box under my name. I did. Like a fool. But I never destroyed it. That file had the power to do more than ruin him, it could bury him. So, I printed 5 copies and mailed one directly to his corporate headquarters. One to the Department of Justice. One to a journalist I knew had a grudge. And the last one? I mailed it to Shelley's mother, the same woman who never liked me, never welcomed me to family dinners, and once told Shelley that Jillian is too polished to be real. Now she would know who was really fake. 3 weeks later, the knock came. I opened my front door and found Marcus standing there. He looked smaller than I remembered. His face had not been shaved in days. His eyes had dark circles. He was not wearing a ring. He spoke first. "You win." I said nothing. He sighed, then stepped forward like I owed him space. I did not move. "I never meant for it to go this far," he mumbled. "I thought I was protecting you." I laughed. Loud and clear. "You thought screwing my best friend and marrying her while I was in prison was protection?" His eyes dropped. "I loved you, Jill." "No. You loved what I did for you. You loved that I saved you. And you repaid me by stabbing me in the back and sleeping in my bed with my friend." "She came to me," he whispered. "I was weak. You do not know how hard it was without you." I stepped closer until we were chest to chest. "I do. Because I was without me. I was in a cell. For you. I lost everything, my job, my future, my name. And all that time, you were planning your little beach wedding and telling people I was guilty." He said nothing. Just looked at me with hollow eyes. Then he handed me a manila envelope. Inside was divorce paperwork, already signed. "I figured it was the least I could do," he said. "And I do not want her anymore. Shelley. She lied to me too. Then I guess you both deserve each other. He nodded once, then turned away and walked down the steps. I did not watch him leave. A month passed. Then 2. His company dissolved. The lawsuits piled up. Shelley moved to Denver, last I heard. She was using her maiden name again. I never reached out. I did not need to. I rebuilt slowly. Got a job managing a smaller firm that understood redemption. I started therapy. Bought a new apartment with white curtains and a locked back door. And one morning, I woke up without pain in my chest. That is how I knew I had won. Not because I ruined their lives, but because I got mine back.